Leighton.
How you feeling training wise?
Good, man.
I see you're getting leaner too.
Yeah, getting leaner. And check this out. This morning I was on a little hike doing coaching calls. And
there you go, bro.
Yeah. I mean, it's not gay to show you a picture like that, right? Because you're a professional. Like if I just showed that a random person, that would be gay. But this isn't. You guys want to see?
No, we're the body composition.
Yeah.
Doing your cardio, eating super clean and all
super clean. Yeah, just had a chicken Caesar salad with double chicken, no croutons, no cheese.
Yeah. Fun.
Yeah, the whole thing. Yeah, it's pretty. You know, like for me, the cardio is jujitsu, and I'm so inefficient at jujitsu that I sweat like a motherfucker 3 times a week. So
don't you notice though you feel flat after?
Yeah,
like your muscles are empty.
Yeah, I've just had to increase carbs. Which
your body soaks it up right after low insulin spike, whatever.
Big time.
I definitely notice 100% when I box or roll, it's different. The workout's retardedly good.
Yeah.
But you don't feel good after. I'm wrecked. My muscles are empty and flat. When you lift, totally different. Yeah. And then I notice when even I do the slow, stupid, boring cardio.
Yeah. Controlled environment versus uncontrolled. Right? Because controlled, I'm going to do this weight for this many reps. Uncontrolled. Holy fuck, he was trying to choke me. I got to push him off of me. I don't know how long I'm going to have to do this.
It's a good caloric burn, definitely.
Yeah.
No, but overall for like body composition, like whatever your goal is. I mean, I do both. I think they both work to the end result.
Yeah.
You know, you're melting off fat too.
Yeah.
You just pump it up with some food after. I'm not a bodybuilder looking to step on stage.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm just trying to get fucking shredded.
How soon, actually, this is a good question, and I wonder if I should be asking all this on the show. But how soon after a roll, like, because you're right, I do feel flat. I'm ravenous, but I'm like, fuck, I'm trying to get lean. So I shouldn't eat that much carbs, but I do increase it more. In that window, how much window do I have, and how much carbs could I get after rolling for 90 minutes?
I would do something like, a super high glycemic spike, but then you think like something shitty. You don't need something shitty. So I would do something like a sweet potato with like organic maple syrup on it. Do like, pour it on 2-3 tablespoons. Pour it on there.
No shit.
Yeah. And then after, don't eat carbs for your next 2 meals, but shuttle that in right away.
Okay.
Your body will soak it up.
Even if I'm doing jujitsu at night. So I do it at night, and then within 2 hours.
Your body's going to soak it up. And then you'll see. You got to play. If you wake up and you're doughy and watery, you'd be like, that was too much.
Adjust.
But you should definitely have something, not just protein and vegetables.
Yeah.
You have a little bit slower metabolism than me. Mine's super fast.
I do. I've got a slow.
I could get away with a little bit more, but still, regardless, you need that insulin spike after.
I've always been not always, but recently at 49, I'm more hesitant. Because fuck, man, on like date night, one bad meal, I see it for 2 days.
You do.
One bad.
You don't have the genetics where you start to look better after. That never happened.
Unless I'm fully depleted.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. If I'm fully depleted.
That stupid term refeed. Now I hate it. I hate all these fucking trendy, stupid refeed. Oh, you just ate more food and fucking filled out, you idiot.
Refeed. I like that.
Are we going right now?
Yeah, I guess we're
Oh, shit.
I'm recording.
Oh, you are? All right.
Doesn't get any better than this.
No, it doesn't. Every time I go into your gym, the last couple of times I went, I'm like, fuck, this place is sick. It's your own playground. And
did you work out there this morning?
Yeah, I did. It's awesome. It's like my whole playground, fucking bands, and run around screaming. But when I built
We're watching you on the camera.
Yeah,
what the fuck is
Vinny
doing right now?
I was like, yo, where the fucking cameras? But when I built my first gym, I'm all fucking amped. I'm excited about it. It has the walls, mirrors. And he didn't mean it, but he's like, you know what I would do differently? I'm like, yo, motherfucker, be careful with those words. I put my heart into this.
Right.
And my friend Larry was saying, he's just sitting there like, like quiet. But anyway, so I got to say that, no, I was going to save this story for another day, but I'll start off with this, that, thought about some topics to talk about. And one of them was, so I was in construction for years.
Right.
That's
what did you do? Yeah, because I know, like as my coaching client, I know you're in construction, but I never really asked you, like, what did you do in construction?
I was a union commercial electrician. All right. So when people think of an electrician, they think of the guy putting in hi-hats and shit. That's not what I did. I mean, there are guys who do that, and there's different stages of the job. So I was always in commercial buildings. So they always call it out of the hole because there's a fucking hole in the ground for the footings, and they build them up, and those are the sub cellars. There's 2 or 3 levels. And then everyone sees from the street level up, and there's all stages to the game. I was always on the deck. So the deck is when, the concrete just doesn't magically appear there.
Right.
It's pretty much like it's a special type of composite mold, like a plywood, but it's not plywood, and it holds the form. So that's the deck. It's the Q deck, and underneath there's all these 4x4s and intricate places, so the fucking floor doesn't fall.
Right.
We run. So this is exactly how it goes. Deck day. I'm like, fuck. First guy, you know what lathers are? They're the guys who lay down rebar. You know what rebar is?
Yeah.
Right. They're all fucking, most of them ex-cons.
Yeah.
Right. Lay down the rebar. Rough job. Lay down the rebar. It's a race. So they're laying down the rebar. They're leaning over, tying the crosses so it stays supported. Here we come. So they start going. This is the deck. They start going, laying their rebar. We start laying our pipes. Now that the floor is all laid out with markings for the electrical pipes and the panels in the apartments below.
Right.
We're coming. Boom, 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 boom. Then there's a chair rail for a second layer of rebar. So they're going, we're already here, and now they're come behind. If you forget a pipe, fuck. I've done it before. You got to go back. You got to fucking try to weave it through. Sucks. It's a race, and the lathers have their foreman, whoever he is. He's on a megaphone yelling at him.
No shit.
No. I've seen fist fights and shit. I call it the pirate ship. It's like a different world.
Sounds like a pirate ship.
It is like a pirate ship.
Like the guys down there rowing and some guy just like
100%.
cracking the whip.
That's what it's like.
Yeah.
And they're fucking yelling at him. I've seen fist fights and all kinds of shit.
Does it pay well? Not the electrician part, but those guys.
Yeah. So that's one of the jobs where if you're an ex-convict or whatever, you could get paid $60 an hour with good benefits.
Oh, shit.
But it's just tough on your body out in the
Right.
elements. So I was always on deck most of the time. But most of the times I was something called in the bull gang. So the bull gang are the guys who pull the electrical feeds and set up, they do the big panels. I can't think, the big giant pull panels where all the heavy feeders are put into. Tug the wire through these 4-inch pipes. So it's a lot of setup. You got to skin the wire down. So the wire, when you think of a wire in your panel, it's a little number 12 or 10 maybe, or 14. These wires are the size of like a stickball bat. So imagine circumference and the amount of voltage and amperage going through there. It's, game over if you get fucked up.
Yeah.
But that's what I did most
crazy.
of my career. So.
But the whole time you stayed lean, jacked, and
So
you were always working out. Like
always working out, So it was funny. So, I left that job about 7-8 years ago now. I can't believe it's that long. And I'm not going to mention names or anything, but, I posted a few things about my job and local 3 experience and whatever. And it was nothing bad in my eyes. I got a call from who was one of my old partners when I first started. And now he's a big to do in the union. I'm like, what the fuck's this guy calling me about? He goes, hey, we're shooting the shit a little bit, this and that, right? So then it came up. He's like, yeah, some of the stuff you post. And I'm like, well, which ones are we talking about particular, right? I'm not going to get too far into it. But he thinks it wasn't shine a good light. I said, I apologize, never my intention. Brother, whatever. But he stuck his neck out for me one time, and it was a pretty big deal. So I said, you know what, I'll do you the favor. I won't say about it anymore. But I thought it was funny because it's making its way up to things when I'm doing on social media that he gave me a call.
Yeah.
But the job, I portrayed that I hated it when I used to be, I didn't hate it. It instilled a lot of good in me, like getting up early, like 4 o'clock in the morning, doing something I didn't want to do outside in the cold all day. And I always speak about eating lunch on a spackle bucket 30 stories up. And these are all true stories, eating cold chicken and cold rice, going, fuck my life right now. What did I do wrong? But there are certain moments in that job where I knew it was just time. That was just like a sitting ground for me. And I was going to leave. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Things that guy said to me that I still remember to this day. I still talk to this one individual. And I always looked up to him. He was a big German guy, black hard head, smoked Marlboro Reds. And we were working on a job downtown Manhattan. And I heard him talking about testosterone with another guy. And, negative, this and that. And I had to chime in. I fucking just had to. So I turned around. I just started chopping him up, and I turned him around on it in like 7 minutes. So the other guy walked away and he goes, you have a gift. He goes, you don't belong here. He's like, you made me think something that was so bad. Now I'm debating on going to the doctor in 5 or 6 minutes. And there's other things, how hard I worked. Then I got laid off. I'm like, wait a minute, this doesn't make sense. I go, and I'll tell that story in a second. I go, the harder you work, you don't get moved up. I go, and I had to go. So the story, now in Long Island or Queens borderline, they built a new casino. The Aqueduct was an Aqueduct Raceway. It was a horse race. They ripped it down. They made this casino there, right? So that was another job. It was outside in the cold. And Con Ed always brings the power line up their power up their property line. We had to pick it up and bring it to the casino. So there's 2 trenches, 6 feet deep, 4 pipes, 20-foot lengths or whatever. And I worked at night, overnight. Started like 7, 8 at night and worked till 4 in the morning. It's cold. It was literally like the Arctic, out in the open fields. You know what I'm talking about. And the foreman's like, listen, if you, I said something to him. If I get X amount of feet, I can't remember how I went. If I get X amount of feet, but I go home, he goes, you get that many feet done, you go home. I said, yeah. I go, give me the hammer. I told him to get here, hold a 2x4 and whack. And I'm sweating. It's like 12 degrees out. But I got it done early. Go home. Did it again. At the end, till we ran all the pipe, I remember this day always. He comes up to me, gives me the check, and he was sincere. He's like, I got to lay you off, and I really don't want to. I go, what do you mean? He's like, I got to keep this guy, a guy with a cane. This guy has been there for 30 years, just soaking up all the benefits, still maxing out his funds. He should have retired 3 years ago, but they laid me off. I'm like, this doesn't make sense. I worked like a fucking workhorse for you. You want to keep me, but you can't. These are all the things that I was sour about with that job. The guys are great. The job is good, but these little things like that.
Right. It's almost like political.
That, and even more so is stuff like egotistical foreman more than anything. It's almost at the top of the list. So
yeah, that's funny you say that, because my version of that was when I was in my 20s. I worked at Disneyland, and I remember everyone saying like, congratulations, you should stay there because they gave you like all types of benefits. You have opportunities to move up as high as you want, as long as you're willing to jump through the hoops and do what they say. And they even give you stock options, right? So a portion of your check would go into Disney stock automatically. You just have to give them the yes or no that you want that or not. And I remember thinking like, I can't wait to get out of here. And when I would say that to my coworkers, they're like, are you kidding me? You're not going to be a lifer? I was like, no, man, I think I'm meant for something different. I didn't know what it was at the time, but I was like, I'm not meant to be here for life. And all they were excited about is, to them, it was the lottery. They won the lottery. We're a union. We were part of the Hotel Restaurants Entertainment Union. You're getting good pay for what it is. Disney pays well, health benefits, stock options, opportunity to move up. And I was like, I don't belong here. Like, I just know that I'm supposed to be out there in the wild figuring it out for myself. And each time there was some kind of like, I remember they didn't allow facial hair. So I would grow my sideburns out as far long as I could. Remember when Pulp Fiction came out in the 90s? Jules with the long sideburns.
Yeah.
So I was like, fuck it. I'm going to do like Jules did. I'm going to grow some long sideburns. It was like a weekend. I had the weekend off. I didn't shave it. So I worked on Carnation Cafe, which is across the street on Main Street Restaurants. And I get there, bro, I'm a fucking fry cook at this point. Like what they call backstage. Guests, customers don't see me. And one day I'm cooking up some burgers and stuff. It's super busy. The Main Street Electrical Parade's about to happen. And I got like 40 hamburgers on there, all these chicken and all these fucking steaks. Tickets are coming out of the machine. We're humming. We're working fast. And I feel like a pen against my face. And I look, and it's my supervisor, Kathy, measuring against my earlobe to see if my sideburns were below it. That was the day I was like, I'm out. I quit. Like, that was the day. Like, we're fucking busy. We're doing our job. No guests are going to see us. And even if they did, they're not going to be like, this guy's sideburns or whatever. But I was like, I'm unemployable. I'm never going to have an employer again. And that was it. That was the beginning of like starting my own journey as an entrepreneur. Yeah.
So I, like you said, I didn't know. I just knew that was a waiting ground for me. And like, my whole family did it. My grandfathers, my uncles, everyone, my brother. And I never loved it. Yeah. It was a job. It was a good job.
Did they have heartburn when you were going to leave?
No.
No, they weren't like,
no, it wasn't. No.
Hey, it's what we do. How can you leave?
No, not really. It was my own decision. And I never loved it. It was just a job. But like you said, I didn't know what I was going to do. I didn't know that it would be fitness. I had no idea until when I started training people. And I was like, this doesn't make sense. I go, hold on a second. I'm making this much money doing something I like. I'm wearing Lululemons and Nikes. And this is in one night almost what I make in a week without some fucking asshole yelling at me. And I've worked for great foremen, don't get me wrong, but like, I just always think of the assholes.
Right.
They have this fucking
ego. Well, we always remember the bad people in our life.
Yeah. The good guys I'd bend over backwards for,
right.
And I worked for a lot of good guys. One of my friend actually, who was a foreman, was my biggest motivator for me leaving. He goes, what are you doing here? And he's like, well, you don't belong here. He goes, what's your loyalty? You know, it was almost like a dog who gets beaten.
Yeah.
And they enjoy getting beaten. I had this loyalty, but I didn't know anything else. I did it for 20 years.
Yeah.
Until I left. I'm like, see you later, you know? But there was things in my mind. I get to a job, and the last foreman, he was a jerk off. Like, you know, I walk in, shake his hand, you know, Shanny, and they have this fucking chest out, fucking Harley Davidson belt buckle. Yeah, I used to look like this guy. You know, I fucked up my shoulders running a 6-inch gal by myself. Now, if you know what 6-inch gal is, 6-inch galvanized pipe by yourself, it's about 180 pounds. Doesn't sound like much, but it's 180 pounds of awkward long steel.
Right.
No, you didn't run by yourself. Right away, like, you're a jerk off. I don't like you. And I remember on that one job, I was already leaving. I knew I was. I'd only go in 4 days a week. I'd take off one day to train people, right? I was a cancer on the job. So I worked with great guys in that job and like really smart. And like one of them was my partner. And he used to paint these hard hats. I'm talking incredible. Like eagles and you know, Pokemon, whatever you wanted.
Like artwork.
Insane.
Yeah.
I go, dude, you should fucking sell these. He goes, I don't know. I go, dude, construction workers buy this. I go, you could charge like fucking $500-$600 this. He's like, what construction workers are going to buy that? You see, I'm like, it's your mind. I go, you don't know what these guys do. You know, this guy has an electrical business on the side. He's just doing this for the benefits. And a lot of guys did that. I go, you don't know what these guys do.
Yeah.
You know, if he's hustling on the side, it's your mind. I called him Black Cloud Kenny because he was always fucking like, that's the negative. It was his mindset. You know what I'm saying? But I was telling him you could do this. And another guy had an electrical business. I go, dude, what the fuck are you doing here? But anyway, I was a cancer on the job. They don't like that.
Yeah.
You know, but
I'm guessing you were either loved or hated. Like I can't imagine Vinny being just kind of middle of the road. You're either loved or hated.
More loved than hated, but hated by those foremen because at the end, they get off on having power over you.
Yeah.
And at the end, they realize they had nothing on me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, that was actually a second job before I left. And then when I went to another job, I was still doing the 4 days a week. And that was a great job, very professional, good foreman. And when they went to lay me off, they're like, dude, I'm sorry. I was genuinely happy. They were like bewildered. I'm like, no. See you later. And then I never went back.
Yeah.
You know, and that was it. And I just knew
Good
fitness.
for you, man.
Yeah. I didn't know where it would take me, but here I am now, you know.
You definitely found your space on Instagram. Like when I see some of your shit going viral. Because the way you deliver a message, it's kind of no BS, no sugar-coated, brutally honest. And I do feel like knowing you, I know it comes from a place of love. Like you're saying it because you give a shit for humanity. But it also, you know, with your Italian East Coast flavor, it comes off like a hammer. You know what I mean? Yeah.
You know, so it's funny. If you would have told me 2 years ago or 3 years ago, I would have been doing this on social media, I would have been laughing, like saying, no fucking way. You know, but I might have told you in the past, one of my friends is huge on social media. And he told me, he goes, you have this for this. So I was like, yeah, okay, whatever. And then that's when I hired the kid to do it. And he portrayed me on there and edited it. And then it just fucking exploded, you know?
Yeah.
But if you would have told me, I would have been, I guess, like some sort of an influencer. Dude, I didn't even fucking, I was the last guy to have an iPhone, Instagram account.
Yeah.
And he would have told me that my life was social media and this shit. I would have been like, no way.
Look at you now.
But I definitely knew, though, that I didn't need somebody to make my money for me. I go, and when, like, this is the thing also, right? I'm like, you think you have the power over me to control how I make a living. That's what they like. And I remember, dude, like these guys, like from the hall would come down, the way they spoke to the guys, because they knew they had their balls in their hand. If anybody's got something to say it, stand up and say it to me now. I'm like, this motherfucker. He wouldn't say that to them in a parking lot of fucking CVS. He'd get put on his fucking ass. But he knew he had the power of their job. Right. And these guys had to eat that shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm like, you fucking cocksucker. And I just sat there. I'm like, I'm out of here. Anyway, so fuck this guy. I feel like hitting him over the head with a fucking pipe bender, but whatever. These are the things I didn't like about it. Those guys, guys were great. I worked for a lot of cool foremen, but guys who think they have your life in their hands and they get off on it, that's what I didn't like.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
That's a special type of douchebag because like they get off, their ego gets off on that.
Oh, there's a lot of them.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
You know, and I remember this one guy, like I interjected in a conversation, right? And I'll always remember the look he gave me, like, how dare you speak to me? And when I'm speaking to him, I'm like, dude, I will fucking leg kick you and you will cry. I was like, you fucking, these are the little things I always remember in my head. And these are the things that I don't like and aided in me leaving, you know? But anyway.
There you go.
You know, here we are.
Here we are.
Here we are. So, you know, I was going to talk about another topic, and I'm kind of drawing a blank right now what it was I got it. And I know you're going to have a good conversation with me on this. So I couldn't get my head around this and like how this kid didn't perceive himself as being a pussy. So my friend owns a restaurant, and a situation happened in the restaurant, and two guys were fighting, whatever they thought they were doing, went outside. And there was a girl in the middle, and the girl got knocked on the floor. Instead of guys going to help her, somebody off to the side. Everyone breaks out their fucking phone now.
Right.
What's this say?
Yeah.
That's the first reaction. They break out their phone, and the guy filming, his friend went over the girl and mocked her and went like this, and she's fucking on the floor instead of helping her up. So my friend who owns the restaurant went, yo, what the fuck are you doing? Put your fucking phone away. Mouths and did whatever. But the point is this. And then the kid posts on Instagram, this and that. And I'm like, yo, you don't even see that you're a pussy. And this is like, you're not a man. Like, this is what I couldn't get my head over. And two of my friends I'm still like, yeah, but that's just the way it is today. You know what I mean? I'm like, you took out your phone. You didn't help the girl up. And you're like, I'll sue you. With his phone. I'm like, you don't see as this is all that they're trying to make us swallow now. Whatever they call it, demasculinizing men, whatever it is. And he's part of that. I'm like, you don't see
it's
that?
like wokeness. It's the toxic masculinity movement. It's all of that. And I think it's to declaw and defang men. And men instinctively know that they should help that woman out. They should get her off the ground. They should, hey, miss, are you okay? But they've been so declawed and defanged that they instead pull out their phones and do what a little bitch would do and want to get some clout on social media, which is fucked up. A great example of that is several years back, my family and I were coming back from Maui, a trip to Maui, and we took like a late night flight back to California. So it's like 11 o'clock, the plane takes off from Maui. By midnight, we're over the Pacific Ocean, going towards California. And we're sitting in the back of first class, and way in the front of first class, there's this dude who's like hitting the headrest in front of him and making the gun gesture to the guy in front of him. This is like post 9/11, bro. And I'm thinking like, the flight attendants are probably going to have a problem with this guy. Already the people around him have dispersed. And I see the flight attendants coming down my side of the aisle, 3 of them, and the head flight attendant has like zip cuffs interlinked together. I'm like, oh shit, it's about to go down. And so my son Andrew is next to me. He's I don't know, 9 years old or something. We were looking through some book, and then my wife and daughter were across the aisle from me. And I look at the guy behind my wife, and we make eye contact. Like, okay, it's on. And I'm thinking, all right, well, if something happens, I'm gonna help because it's the right thing to do. And I can tell that guy sitting behind my wife was like, he's gonna help too. And I'm thinking, all right, if something happens, we're the closest to this guy. Everyone else is going to come and dogpile. The hardest thing I'm going to have to do is try and breathe while being dogpiled on. I'll figure it out if it happens. So flight attendants come through. I stop the lady. I'm like, hey, is there anything I could do to help? She's like, no, by law, we have to ask him to put these cuffs on. He's a flight risk. I'm like, okay, by law, you have to ask him. At this point, he's yelling, he's screaming, he's standing up, like poking the guy's chest. I'm like, all right. So she goes, they cut in front of him, between him and the cockpit. And you can see they're saying like, hey, put this on. And he's like, fuck no, I'm not putting this on. And she looks up and starts yelling, help. Me and this guy go up running. And out of the corner of my eye, what I thought I was going to see is everyone else getting up to run. It was just phones coming up. And all I could think is, these motherfuckers are about to record our death. I don't know if this guy's a fucking shoe bomber. I don't know if he's going to detonate himself. I don't know what's going on. I'm thinking these motherfuckers, instead of helping, are about to record.
That's the first reaction.
Yeah. So anyway, long story short, we were able to subdue him and zip cuff him and put him in the back where the flight attendants wanted him. And I don't know if he was just on drugs or if he lost his mind or whatever, but we landed, and then the LAX police department came and took him out. But fucking A, man, like no one wants to help. Everyone wants to document and get some kind of social media clout, which is
fucking
nuts.
terrible.
Yeah.
So Do you know that? And I was venting about this to the guys who were like, this is the world. And the two guys who I was telling this to were like, they're men.
Yeah.
They see the same way I do. They're like, yo, this is just the way it is. They agree with me. I was like, yo, I'd fucking rip his phone out and spike it on the floor. They're like, dude, you know that's a serious offense and a felony? Just because you're taking someone's ability away to call 911 and save themselves.
Oh, wow.
So that's like serious. And then, you know, what's the charge if you break something that's very expensive? Whatever it is, right?
Right.
You know, these phones like $1,400. So then you get charged with that. But you're taking away someone's ability to call 911. So if you think about a female getting raped, whatever it is.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, the guy is a female doing this, you know, rightfully so. But like, you understand, if I took his phone and spiked it on the phone and exploded and said, go fuck your mother,
you'd have bigger problems.
way bigger.
Yeah.
They know this.
Yeah.
Fucking gay. Terrible.
Yeah. It's set up to keep oppressing men who want to do something, like men who want to be actual men, who want to be knights, who want to show up and help and support. Right there in New York, in your own town, at one of the subway stations, there was a Marine that took some guy and choked him. The guy died. Right, the guy died. He got him in a rear naked chokehold or something, choked him. But the guy was like a risk or some kind of like a violent dude.
He was a violent dude.
Yeah, and they prosecuted the Marine.
Yeah, and they prosecute him. They're, like, he has a good attorney. He's probably not going to go to jail, do minimal time. But think about how crazy this is. This is the United States military, you know, and he was saving individuals on a train and protecting them, and he choked out an individual who deserved to be choked out and happened to kill him. I don't understand how he's even getting in trouble at all.
Yeah. In the 90s, he would have been hailed as a hero.
Yeah.
Today,
absolutely.
Yeah.
It's a backwards world.
Yeah, he's a toxic man.
Absolutely.
He's a toxic man. He's danger.
You know, and then I'm talking to my friend the other day, and we were having a conversation. He's like, he was away talking to girls, and, you know, he's like, yo, there's a cry for men. There are no men out there. You know, I don't talk to girls, you know, it's my wife, but like, he's like, yeah, he was out talking. They're like, yeah, there's no men. Just like demasculinizing like a man, like holding doors open for women or doing the right thing. And I see it. These young kids, I go, yo, what the fuck is wrong with you? You know, older women, they don't hold the door open. They just walk in front. I was like, yo, this is crazy what's going on. So it's the best that people like you and I could try to teach our kids or my son the best way. Shake someone's hand, look him in the eye. And he's doing it now. He's old enough. I'm like, you know, he's doing it. So,
and you know what? They end up, so my son, how old is your son?
7.
He's 7. So my son's 18. And I taught him all that when he was younger. And today I see him, how he's leading his little group of friends into being more gentlemanlike, more chivalrous. He's getting them, bringing them into the gym. You saw where the mats are in my gym where we roll out. And he'll roll with them and he'll introduce them to boxing and jiu-jitsu. And I'm like, all right, all I had to do was mold one good young man, my son, and then he's going to start infecting
Spread
others.
it.
Yeah.
I guess how it could be like a domino effect.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
You know,
like I don't believe the opposition has won. I think they're trying to win. I think they've currently are winning, but I think the more of us that wake up and go, hey, you know what? I could do something about this by being an example to my son and to the boys that look up to me, and then they're going to start spreading it.
Yeah. So a lot of the kids, like I trained, all the kids that I trained mostly are like that. You know, when I first started training people, I was training, you know, adults, you know, mostly fighters at first, and then it trickled down to, you know, the general population. Most, you know, not really so much guys want to get shape. It kind of worked into that, but a lot of bodybuilders.
Yeah.
And then eventually kids for sports or whatever. And a lot of the kids, though, do have that mindset, and their fathers taught them that, you know, and just in conversation, because I get close with them and just talking about what goes on in school, whatever. And they were talking about, you know, what's going on with transgender and gay and whatever. And they're like, dude, it's not even the kids that are gay. And I have nothing against gay people at all. And I got a funny story about that too. But he goes, it's the other ones who aren't really, and they dress in dresses and trying to shove it in your face. I said, really? At the school? He goes, bro. He goes, there's like 6'2" kids in my school weigh like 240 pounds wearing dresses and high heels.
Holy shit.
With wigs on. I was like, are you fucking kidding me? He goes, yes. So, you know, to the story of that, with like, tell a little funny story about like not anything against Bane, just who you are. And I was very good friends with these 2 gay guys years ago. And I was going to Gold's Gym, and dude, they were jacked, they were tatted up. And one of them asked me for a spot. I thought it was his workout partner. Must have been his boyfriend, wasn't there that day.
Yeah.
Gave him a spot, and he kind of looked like me, but like huge. And he got up and he's looking at me, and I'm like, something funny about his eyes, the way he's looking at me. There was like this flutter, right? And then I just was like, wait a minute, that wasn't right. And I found they were gay, but they were cool, man. I'd meet them out and shit or whatever. Yeah. But, you know, just to say, like, I have nothing against them. I was friends with them. But the other day, what I mean about to say about was what I was like with those kids with the people shoving in your face. And this is what I was leading to. I'm in CVS. I went to CVS, and it's a normal night, and there's this new employee. There's an 18, 20-year-old kid, and he's big, and he's fat, and he's wearing lipstick and makeup, and he's flamboyant and boisterous and shit. Hey, how are you? And I'm like, I'm walking on. This and that. But he's trying to put it in my face and get shit, right? So I bring my son in there one day, right? And I'm just I wasn't going to say anything nasty, but what it is he's trying to push it on me and waiting for a reaction. Instead of just working there and just being whatever and working normal, he's standing in the front, being loud.
Trying to be seen.
Putting that shit on. And he was going to say something to my son. I looked at him, and you could feel without me saying nothing, he would shut the fuck up. Because I've been like, shut your fucking mouth. Because then, you know what I mean?
Right.
I don't want to say anything right now. They'll be like,
do you think like he had an agenda, or do you think he just wanted to get attention?
You know what I mean? Both.
Yeah.
There's definitely a little bit of both.
Mm.
But like, come on, dude. If you want to do what you want to do, that's fine. I have no problem with it. Be who you want to be. Don't fucking shove it in my face every 2 seconds I go in that store. Because it started bothering me. It was like the third time I bought something, but like the second time I went in there and he's, hi, yeah, can I help you now? I looked at him. I'm like, don't talk to me anymore. Don't say hi to me. Because you're being a dick. You're not just saying hi.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right. I wonder if they look at you and then go, oh, he's probably from a generation who's going to be a dick to me, who's going to be, not bigoted, but who's probably set in his ways, not realizing that you don't give two shits. Like I
don't give two shits.
In my early 20s, I worked at a gay bar. I was a bouncer at a gay bar, and I didn't give two shits.
Don't give two shits.
Yeah. But I also know, like, if I'm somewhere with my kids, don't even attempt to influence my kids with your way of life.
Just so like, you said it better than I did.
Yeah.
It was a way to start to influence my son.
Yeah.
And like my son's so young. You know what I'm saying? Like, you want to be this gay. Do not fucking shove that shit.
Fly your freak flag all you want. But yeah, the moment you start influence, it would be the same as if I started trying to influence someone they loved in a different way. Like, hey man, if we're not friends, I don't know you, I'm not going to try and influence you. If I feel like, hey, you ask me something, here's how I live my life.
Yeah.
But I'm not just going to try and influence you, and I don't want you to do that with my family. But I feel like because the government and media has given them so much free reign, like it's like we take the 1% of the population and we're like the rest of us 99% have to change our lifestyle and the way we live to accommodate them, right?
Yeah.
And then they're like, well, they actually need to hear what I have to say. No, I don't, motherfucker. It's still a free country, and I have the freedom to say, no, I don't, and not with my kids.
You're right.
Yeah.
You know, those two guys who I was telling you about, I just thought of a funny story and an experience. I like to tell the experience. So when I was in Local 3, right, you have to go to a school. Like, I went through the apprenticeship. So you have to do 2 nights of, like, college and 2 nights of electrical, right? In the same night. It was a Monday, Wednesday. Those were tough days because I'd get up at 4 o'clock and had a little break in between schools. Between work and school was 2:30. The day ended for work. School started at 4:30. And then we were out at I think it was 8 o'clock, just say. And we'd race for the 8:15 train. And if you miss, you have to take the 8:35, and you're getting home at 9:30. By the time, then it's 10:15, you're getting up again at 4. I did that 2 days a week for 6 years, right? So in the days I had school, I had a 2-hour break, right? So I'd go to a Fuel Cafe, and the area where the school was in Chelsea, Manhattan. Are you familiar with Chelsea?
I've heard of it.
Chelsea, Manhattan is a very gay populated area. And huge muscleheads. I'm talking huge, holding little white poodles, hysterical.
Yeah.
So I'd go to Fuel Cafe, and they'd be all in there eating with their little dogs and shit, right? So I had 2-hour breaks. So I'd work out the gym called Steel Fitness. And I'm going to tell you the first experience I had. It was a hardcore bodybuilding gym. Weights, big, huge dudes, girls. Go down there. It's a pit. Everything was in the basement. I'm working out. And it's all guys. Huge. Fucking training. I'm going, yo, why is everyone looking at me right now? Handlebar mustaches, tattoos. And then it fucking dawned on me. I'm like, holy shit, I'm the hot 18-year-old girl in here right now.
That's it.
Yeah.
Imagine that.
Yeah.
Fresh meat.
It's funny, right? So
Fresh meat.
And these dudes with big boy and just like mean motor scooters.
Yeah, yeah.
And one of these fucking in between school, these guys would drink, the construction was would drink in between.
Yeah.
Some would train like me and some would go to the bar. And one of them started getting loud with one of these guys walking by. One of these big muscles, I thought because he was gay. Dude, the gay guy beat the balls off of him in front of everyone. It's embarrassing as shit. It's hysterical.
So I got a friend who's a cop in West Hollywood. And he says when they get domestic calls, and a lot of the gay dudes out there that are working out at like the Venice Gold's gym and wherever, like, look, man, they're on the sauce, they're jacked, the sauce makes you a little edgy depending on how much you take. And he says when they get called to domestic disturbance calls for like a gay couple, he's like, it's a fucking bloodbath. Like,
really?
It's a fucking scene. It's not like a husband and wife where, maybe the husband pushed her as she hit her head against the wall.
No, they beat the shit out of each other.
They just go fucking nuts.
I mean, at the end of the day, they're two men.
Two strong men.
Yeah.
Who just
whatever you
to
like
get
sexually
triggered.
or not,
Yeah. Yeah. Whether you like a dick in your ear or not, you're about to duke it out. You know what I mean?
You can be throwing down.
Yeah, yeah.
It's fucking hysterical, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways. I
like that. The theme of this whole podcast is just about just full-on gayness, and I think I triggered it by showing you that picture of my legs earlier.
I think that's what triggered it.
Yeah.
Yeah, not talking about gay, but it just led into all kinds of shit. And I was just talking about like, why I brought that up was because I just couldn't get my head around the phone thing with the guy. I just don't understand. I can't comprehend. That is not my first reaction, is to break out the fucking phone and film, whether it's a fight or not. It's either, even in like a dangerous situation, the first thing people do, how about run if someone pulls a gun?
Right.
Not pull out your fucking phone.
Yeah.
Or then if someone needs help, you pull out your fucking phone. I don't understand. Then you put it on social media.
Yeah.
Like the guy who broke his phone out, right, and started doing that. Like back in the day, he doesn't even think about the real ramifications of someone breaking his fucking hand with a lump hammer. When he puts on his thing, he's a tattoo artist, but there wasn't Ring fucking cameras everywhere who sees everything. Someone would walk into a shop and bust his fucking head open and break his hand up with a lump hammer. But he probably knows that won't happen.
Right.
But he doesn't even think that's on the table.
Right.
But it doesn't even bother his ego that how much of a pussy move that is. That's what I couldn't get over.
They don't even realize it now. They're so far down the rabbit hole, they don't even realize that what they're doing is just a bitch move.
That's what I couldn't get over.
Yeah. Well, if everyone does it, this must be normal. Like,
but it's not normal to me at all.
Well, we're from a different generation.
Speak about men, right? And one of my favorite actors is Daniel Day-Lewis, right? And one of my favorite characters that he plays is, you ever see There Will Be Blood?
No.
Oh, dude. You've seen, obviously, Gangs of New York.
Yes.
So it's very similar to that, but he's an oil man back in like the 1800s, but a very tough, shrewd man, businessman. No bullshit. Tough, but I love the character he played. But point of what I'm making is that's a fucking man. You know what I mean? Even in like Gangs of New York, he was fucking. Do you remember that part? He cuts a steak and he's talking, and he taps his eyeball with the knife. That's fucking gangsta.
Yeah.
That's not even comprehensible. Like, I love that.
Yeah.
This fucking Fruit Loop with the phone who did that probably doesn't even understand anything of it.
Have you seen those videos where you can tell like there's some deranged guy coming towards this person, and they're like, hey, stop, I got my phone, I'm recording all this. Like, the deranged person doesn't give a fuck, whether they're on bath salts or they're on fucking crack or heroin. And you literally see them like, okay, you got your fucking phone out. It's not a pistol, it's not a knife. Like, you had your opportunity to fucking run. Instead, you take your phone out thinking like this deranged person's not going to turn away. They didn't. And all you end up seeing is like how they got the shit beat out of them.
So fucking crazy.
And that was the end of it. It's like, people have this misconception that if I have got my phone out and I'm pointing it towards you, that you're all of a sudden going to come to your senses. You're not going to be foaming at the mouth anymore. Bro, you're still going to attack me, beat the shit out of me, and probably shove the phone up my ass. Only when they find it is it going to make it on social media.
It's so crazy.
It's fucking nuts, man.
When I was, I remember once I slapped the phone out of some woman's hand. I was coming down the escalator run for the train. Something might have bumped into her. She's at the bottom, and she took a phone out to start filming me. And it was quick though. I slapped the phone out of my hand and went flying. I got on the train, not knowing you're taking someone's ability away.
Right.
To call 911. That was so long ago. Who knows if that law
You
was
committed a massive crime right there.
Right? Massive crime.
Jeez.
But anyway, man, that's the craziness today of demasculinizing men. And I'm just glad that there are more guys like us that think the way we do.
Yeah.
Because it's almost like, it almost seems far and in between now.
It is. But I think the pendulum's going to swing the other way.
And then I know even like, and a lot of my friends, obviously my friends, they think the way I do, obviously, otherwise they wouldn't be my friends. But even some of the new clients I have, and just, it's not even like they're not guys, but like, it goes along with the softness too of like not trying your hardest at something. And some of them might just try to make like a project, even though it's almost a losing battle, but I can't get my fucking head over it. I'm like, don't you feel like shit that you just keep letting this happen? And I tried to motivate him lightly at first, and I start getting harsh, and I start saying, you're fucking fat. And then I'd be real. Then I start saying, how do you feel when around your fucking kids when you have your shirt? You feel like shit. Stop picking up your shirt. You're fat. I got to get real with him. And he's like, I go, how do you think fucking any girls look at you? Because girls I know look at me. I go, those are the girls that no one wants to bang that are looking at you. How about that? But I try to fucking motivate him to change. But like, dude, I just don't understand it. Everything I've ever done in my life, I've tried my hardest at. It just didn't seem right not to.
What do you think the problem is in that people have stopped trying hard? Like, I think, like I found in the world that I operate in as an entrepreneur, like everyone overestimates how easy it's going to be, and they underestimate how hard and how long it's going to take to really get your business, your idea, your product to launch. And I think that happens more in this generation now, today, than ever before. And I think it's because they want fast results. They want to put up a post.
Gratification.
Yes, exactly.
I fucking hate that, because nothing I ever did in my life was instant gratification.
Bingo.
The struggle of fucking doing something. Like, dude, like, I wasn't naturally jacked. I had nice little Bruce Lee muscles and shit, but it took a long motherfucking time and a lot of work, a day and years and time and sweat. And I fucking hate it when someone's like, I'm like an instant gratification guy. My balls get a little tickle that I want to fucking vomit. I fucking hate it. Do you understand what I mean? I go, dude, everything I've ever done in my life is hard and I like it. That's the enjoyment of it. Like I was telling somebody the other day, I go, and they couldn't understand what I was saying. I go, the enjoyment of what I'm doing right now, finally getting into the shape I always used to be and looking like my brand, is the part of it kind of sucking. Do you understand what I mean? Like I'm eating food I don't really want to eat. It doesn't have to be so fucking flavorful every time. I like putting it down going, this kind of sucks, but I did it. Doing this. When I'm in the gym by myself, I have fucking, like you say, wars. I call myself a pussy and do too. You should have seen me by myself before. You've been like, this guy belongs in a straitjacket.
Well, there's a feeling of accomplishment when you do something you don't want to do, but you do it repeatedly over and over again until because you know the outcome is worth it. Like that's a high feeling of accomplishment. That's fucking like dopamine, serotonin at the highest level versus, well, I just faked a good workout, put it on Instagram, got a good engagement, got some good lighting, good angles, but you're really a flop.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah.
So I just don't understand. Like I remember, and there's like a couple times in my life, like, and I'm going to tell this story, and I never really told anybody. I'm going to tell it openly now. And it's almost embarrassing, but not, but why I try so hard. And I was telling my boxing coach, this who's a fucking gorilla man. He goes, I got goosebumps off that story. So I was a kid. I might have been in middle school or maybe a freshman in high school. And my social studies teacher was jacked. I loved him. I looked up to him. And he was going to come to one of my games. And for whatever reason, I didn't start that game. And I was embarrassed. I faked an injury, right? And I remember the way he perceived me after, because I was embarrassed I wasn't starting. And the way he looked at me after, I was like, it was such a shitty feeling that everything I ever did after that, I would die to not try, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Then try my hardest.
Right.
So fucking years later, I haven't seen the guy in 25 years, 27 years. Now he's older. I see him at a CVS. I'm with my father. I go, Dad, wait a second. I actually got out of the car and ran in. I chased him down. And I told him this. I go, you're the reason why I try my hardest at everything. He was like, holy shit. You know what I'm saying? That one moment, I remember the way he looked at me, turned me the way of everything. And then like shortly after that, I remember I was still in high school And you know those rock climbing walls you have in school? And it was the top one that went upside down at an angle. I would not leave the gym until I got it. I was there for hours, bro. And I remember the wrestling coach was standing watching me, and I finally got it. He goes, "You're coming out for the team tomorrow."
That's right.
Yeah, because I would not stop.
Yeah.
Sweating, whatever I did. It took me fucking a long time, but I would not stop until I got it. That's what I don't understand, how people don't fucking give up.
That is having heart. Like, somebody asked me the other day, they said, what happens in the first hour of the project? Are you able to see who's going to make it and who's not, right? Because we run the project 75 hours long. All types of men come. Some are former military. Some are first responders. Some are entrepreneurs. But they're all there for one big reason, which is to unfuck their lives. And he goes, in the first hour, are you able to look at people and be like, oh, he's going to quit. He's going to make it. I was like, no, dude. I've seen people quit who I knew could have made it. And I've seen people make it who I thought were going to quit. Because you can't measure the heart. And I think what your coach saw when you were just like getting after it with that wall, like, this kid's not quitting. He's getting after it. Like, if he takes the same skill and trait and puts it in wrestling, he's going to be fucking unstoppable.
I've done that with everything in my life except for electrical work.
Yeah, right.
Everything.
Because you weren't supposed to be there.
You know, like I remember I was a little kid. I remember my dad, he had a store in a different town, right? And for some, I was younger and I made friends with some of the kids in the neighborhood, and they were like 4 or 5 years older than me. And when you're a kid, they're a lot bigger.
Yeah.
And I just always remember this one kid I got into a fight with him, even though it's fun, you know, you kid, you fight. And he kicked my fucking ass, and I'm crying, but I wouldn't stop trying until I just couldn't move anymore.
Right.
I always was crying. He's flipped me around. I kept on like, yo, would you stop? Yeah, I just didn't, you know.
That says a lot, man. Heart is something that you can't measure.
No,
like
you have to be born with that too.
Yeah. And I do believe it is something you can train yourself to develop as well. But it's immeasurable. Like we've had dudes tear their calf or their Achilles tendon. We tape their foot in the prone position. And we're like, you sure you don't want to medically roll to the next class? They're like, no, man. And they weren't like fit athletes. They were kind of dudes in their 40s, early 50s, kind of built dad bods. You know what I mean? But they had heart. And they were like, nope, I could just hobble along.
Because the feeling, even if you didn't win, that you completed it is so gratifying. You hear, like, what's the term they say? Pain is temporary, but victory is forever.
Yep.
And that's true.
Yep.
It is. If you grind through it, that little bit, you're going to feel great forever. Mm-hmm. And it builds you forever. I truly believe that. And that's what I've always built everything. I wasn't the best athlete. I'm not the absolute smartest, but what I am is the hardest worker.
Yeah.
I will keep going and going and going and going until I win eventually.
I agree.
You know, that's, I think, more than anything, probably, I don't know if I developed it or I was born with it more. I don't know, you know, but it bothers me not to try my hardest at anything. Mm-hmm. And you're the same way.
I think some people, like, if we're lucky, we're like, I believe Jocko Willink was like naturally a born leader. Like, he's got just natural leadership skills. Now, did he develop it further throughout the SEAL program and throughout obviously being a leader, et cetera? Yeah. And then the rest of us, maybe we're not born with it, but we're like, fuck it. It's like a muscle. I can develop it. You know, some people just develop a muscle better and faster and more defined. Next guy has to train longer and diet harder.
You do believe, though, you can develop that skill?
I think so. Yeah. Man, I think the human psyche is so pliable. Like, we're capable of anything. We just limit ourselves, right? We're like, no, I don't know. I'm afraid of the water because I probably can't swim well. So I shouldn't try surfing. Like, that was my story. Like, we tell ourselves some bullshit story, and then we literally buy what we're selling. And then we're like, yeah, that's why I can't surf. That's why I can't lead. That's why I can't get lean. And it's like, no, motherfucker, the body's not that complex. You manage your carbs, you increase your protein, you watch your fats, you train right. Guess what? You're going to be lean and jacked.
No, it's crazy. It's also like people say, if you keep saying it, it's going to happen, even negative or positive. And that's true.
Yeah.
The power of even just saying and repeating it does fucking work.
Oh, yeah, it does.
You know what I mean? And like you said about building that skill, I think what builds it is if they do it one time, they see how good it feels.
Yeah.
And that they can do it, get a little confidence, and they can do it. And they do it a little bit more and more often, a little bit harder. So maybe it is something that you can develop.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's like a muscle you can develop. Some people can develop a muscle faster, though, right? And that's a given. But it's like, dude, what else do you have to do with your time? Develop it. What are you going to do? Sit down and watch fucking A-Team or Knight Rider?
Dude, that's what I have with this one guy, bro. I go, what the fuck are you going to go home and do right now? I go, he's like, I just worked out. I go, go for a walk for 20 minutes.
Right.
I go, what are you going to smoke weed and sit on the fucking couch? How do you think that's going to feel?
Yep.
But you know what sucks? Is that it probably doesn't even fucking bother them.
Right.
I'm going to go,